resellers, this is Alina with 5 must-know reselling tips for luxury resellers that no one really is talking about. Everybody's trying to make fast money with bread and butter brands, and that's okay, I am one of them, but why not do the same work for a lot more money? If you have the means to resell luxury items, here are a few crucial pieces of knowledge for you. I've been lucky enough to come across a few luxury items while thrifting, like Gucci, Chanel, to name a few major designer names. So what I'm telling you is first-hand information. My first tip is a cliche, but very important in my opinion, but the last one you just have to know in order to have a successful transaction and avoid any scams or scammers. Take quality photos and be as descriptive as possible. Do a little research about the item you sell and provide a bit of a history if you can. Point out the best features as well as the retail price and rarity of the piece if that's the case, and mention if it's still sold online or in the stores. And of course, check comps and price your items accordingly. Poshmark lets you take 16 photos and one 15 seconds video for your listing, so I would use all this space to point out any details or point out the imperfections of your item if that's the case. If it's an authentic designer piece you are selling, make sure to provide the proof. Buyers of contemporary luxury items need all the proof they can get to help them decide, as they cannot touch the item, look at it from all the angles. They're not actually in the actual designer store. If you did not know, Poshmark offers free authentication services at their location in Redwood City, California, but your item has to have been sold at over $500. Otherwise, you are not covered with proof of authenticity unless you provide a proof of purchase like a store receipt or have a certificate of authenticity from another party for the piece you are selling. If your designer item is purchased at over $500, instead of the item going straight to your buyer, it will be shipped to Poshmark first, authenticated by a team of professionals, and if the item is authentic, Poshmark will forward it to your buyer with the assurance the item is authentic. This will take a little bit longer to ship to the buyer, but you have the option to communicate with the buyer, so just let them know. I do not know what happens if they find the item is not authentic. It is illegal to sell replicas on Poshmark and anywhere else for that matter. So never had that problem. I don't know what to tell you about it. They probably will ship it back to you, will send it back to you, or they will just destroy it. I have no idea. If the designer items is below $500 and if for some reason your buyer does not like the piece or thinks that some details have not been disclosed or simply question the authenticity, they can open a return case and things can get complicated and messy, which brings us to the next point. Videotape the item throughout the shipping process, from showing it from all the angles, exterior, interior, to packaging it, taking it to the post office, and getting the shipping receipt as proof. On the shipping receipt, you have the date and time of the shipping and the weight of the package, which is very important, as you will see in the last tip. So stay tuned, keep watching, and subscribe and like if you find good value in this video. Go the extra mile and provide additional value. Consider offering the customer additional value such as tips on how to care for their new items or suggestions for other items in your closet that might complement their purchase. Once the buyer has received and accepted the package, you will most likely receive a love note if they're happy. Consider following up from time to time and let them know you received or will receive a new inventory, but that's just basic customer service follow-up. And finally, the last tip I will give you, and believe me, after 25 years in the luxury fashion retail business and more than 3 years in the reselling business, you have to pay attention and be able to identify scammers. Like I said, videotape and record your transaction from beginning to end. And when someone is asking you to send additional pictures to a certain email address or phone number, trying to take the transaction off Poshmark website, just simply ignore the message and flag it as spam. Another trick that scammers use is a switch merchandise, meaning they will buy your listing, and if the item is not going through Poshmark authentication, they will claim they got an empty box or package or the wrong item. If this happens and Poshmark for some reason approves their case, and they return the package with something else other than you sent them, then you have to open another case claiming that you've been scammed. In any case, Poshmark will ask the buyer and the seller to send proof and make their case, and that will help the Poshmark gods decide who is wrong and who is right. And another scam is a buyer pretending they received a damaged or fake items. As you see, videotaping the whole process can save you a lot of headaches and complications. Once my item has been received by the buyer and approved and I receive a love note, I usually delete the video from my phone within 3 days. I don't want to discourage anybody from selling luxury items, and scamming is not happening more on Poshmark than any other internet reselling site, but just wanted to give you a heads up of the most frequent scams that sometimes are running on Poshmark so you know how to successfully avoid them. And here is a bonus tip and answering a question to a concern a few of my viewers have asked me about. If you are not comfortable with displaying your personal return or shipping address on the shipping label when selling on Poshmark, my advice is to take a PO box at your local post office. You cannot simply cut out or scratch out the address on the label because your package will not be accepted, or if it gets lost, there will be no address to be returned to. But in my reselling journey, I never had problems of any kind, so that is really up to you. Keep in mind, Poshmark is safe and you can do transactions safely. Every person is verified and asked to enter a credit card and personal information upon signing up. Thank you so much for watching, and if you are looking to expand your knowledge about reselling, tips and tricks, and how to make daily sales, please subscribe to get notified when I post my weekly videos. Meanwhile, you can watch the next video here. Have a fabulous day, and I will see you next time. Bye!